Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of my podcast. Today's podcast is entitled "You Against Yourself," and as usual, I'm going to start this podcast off with a quote: "The hardest battle you will ever have to fight is between who you are now and who you want to be." And the author of that quote is anonymous. Um, your perspective drives your reality. I've said it time and time again about the way that we perceive a situation dictates how we feel about that situation. And then I've also mentioned the T-FAR model, how our thoughts lead to our feelings, which give us the actions that we take, and then ultimately the results that we drive. But the actuality of the situation is that you know we feel that we're in competition with people to get fame, glory, wealth, like money's gonna run out to get someplace in a certain time before somebody else. But the actuality of that situation is that the only person that we're battling against is ourselves. And the battle that we fight on a daily basis is against our fears, our weaknesses, thoughts, feelings, emotions, and even the perspectives that we face on a daily basis, because our perspective again drives our reality. So if you're a constantly negative person, then your perspective on life is going to be negative. And again, in turn, that's going to reinforce all the other negative aspects of your life that you have yet to put a leash on, or kind of get under control, because we all are doing work on ourselves, some more so than others. But the most important part is that we do that work, because if we just leave our emotions, our feelings, our rationale and stuff like that unchecked, and we just let the world at large dictate how we feel, what we're supposed to think, and what we do in life, then we're letting the world at large dictate our future. The world at large says that we're supposed to go to school, get good grades, finish primary school, like high school, middle school, stuff like that. You make good grades in your school so that you can go to a good college, and then you go to that college, you make good grades, and then in getting those good grades, you secure a good job, and then you use that job for the next 30, 40 years, and then you can hope to retire and live your life out until you die. I mean, for some people that may be acceptable, but for me, that's not acceptable. I haven't come into that mindset up until the most recent years of my life. But by and large, that's what I was told when I was a little kid. Because that's safe, because that's comfortable. And the comfort zone is where we go to die. Once you get comfortable, once you feel like, hey, I can do this, or I can weather the storm right here. I'm just gonna hold what I got. That's where we begin to die, because when you get comfortable, what are you striving for? What's the point of living if you just wake up, do the same thing every single day, get the same results? And in reality, you're actually not any further along in life than you wanted to be. You're realistically in the same place, because you're doing the same thing that you've always done day in and day out. So how are you moving along any further? You might make some more money, put some more money in a savings account, your 401k or whatever. But at the end of the day, those dreams and those goals that you put to the back of your mind, or that you just gave up on because they're childish, somebody told you they were childish, you're not getting any closer to those, or maybe you're not even trying to strive to get to those goals or dreams. And in essence, you're going to just live a safe life and a comfortable life, and you're not going to achieve your goal. You're not going to do the battling against yourself that is required in order to become the best you that you could possibly be. The goal is to be better than yesterday. Not, you don't have to be your best self that you're going to be in 10 years, but today we are making ourselves what we are to become. So the future me is being formed right now. It's we're right now taking all the ingredients and all the work that's necessary to make ourselves the person we need to be to achieve our goals right now. So Jocko Willink talks about, like, every second matters. That second matter, and that second matter, and that second matter. And what that means is, like, are we living intentionally? Like, are you just letting time go by and you're sitting on the couch texting, looking at your phone, just watching endless hours of Netflix? Or is there a purpose to that? Are you setting aside 10 minutes just to relax, and then you're gonna get back after it. Is this part of a cycle, like work, relax, work, relax, work, relax, or are you just letting life pass you by? Because every second does count, because we don't know when our last second on this earth may be. So if you want to live intentionally and you want to move in a manner that pushes you or drives you or gets you closer to your goals or your dreams, then we have to live intentionally. And the way that we live intentionally is by doing battle with ourselves each and every day. A big key to transforming who we are now into who we want to be is through your thought process. Again, the biggest battlefield is in the mind. We have to shape our perspective, our thoughts, feelings, emotions, mind versus the brain, like the subconscious versus the subconscious. There's just so many aspects to just the mental warfare that we face on a daily basis that, and it's vital because we have to win the mind up here. If we win the mind and if we win the battle in the mind first and foremost, everything else should fall into place. I always talk about mind, body, and spirit. We have to have those three aligned in order to be successful. If your mind is right, the mind tells the body what to do. And having your mind right makes it that much easier for you to do the spiritual warfare that you need to do because your mind is in the right place, which is a big part of spiritual warfare, or getting your spirit in the place that it needs to be. And you can do that through religion, meditation, or there's various ways to get mentally right, which I'm not going to go in here because I don't want to direct it one way or another. But it's the world. Experiment, get out there, learn different things, read books. But mind, body, and spirit, they have to be in balance, and you have to win the mind, the warfare in the mind first. That's where I feel is the first domino that needs to be struck. Because once the mind is conquered, everything else, at least in my life, seems to come a lot easier. Positive thinking is a very important component of your perspective. We need to be positive. Positivity is an overarching theme in the lifestyle of successful people. Like, you can't be successful and be negative. Negative things may happen to you, but again, this is where perspective comes in. You have to take your perspective of that situation, switch it into a way that reflects you positively, and make it work for you. For instance, something that affects everybody negatively, somebody passing away, a loved one passing away. Okay, I'm not going to say that's good, but that person may have been in pain. That person may have been going through something, or it was just that person's time to go. They are no longer in pain. My grandfather, his last days on this earth, he was in a lot of pain. He wasn't himself, and you know it just wasn't good. And I found solace in the fact that my grandfather wasn't in pain anymore. As much as it hurt for him not to be with me, it would almost be selfish of me to want him to stay and be in pain just for the sake that I can come and see him and come and talk to him. So I took that L. It happens to us all. It's a destination that we're all traveling towards as humans, but you got to put a positive perspective on it to help you get through, because his journey is over and mine is still continuing. So I have to find a way to push through life. I can't stay and be sad, forever dwelling on this. It's a part of life. It happens. So you just got to find a positive road through the negativity, and then use that positiveness to create momentum. And then that momentum will get you over that negativity. It'll create like a slingshot momentum. Like it'll push you forward through that negativity, and you'll be able to make it through. I know it sounds like I'm just saying that, and I don't know the situation you're going through, which is true. But by and large, no matter how big or how small the situation is, give it a try. It might seem hard, and I'm definitely not telling you that it'll only last an hour or a day. But again, referring to the principle of polarity, or duality or yin and yang. Everything has a motion to it, like a pendulum. So as far as it swings negative, there's going to be some positivity that comes out of that very same situation. So it's your job to find that positivity and to use it to create momentum. Some of the positive effects that positive thinking has on your body is that it can reduce stress, it strengthens the immune system, you have better health and well-being, your mind is clearer, and improve relationships. It improves the relationships. And again, like how we discussed in the Mind versus Brain podcast, there's a lot of scientific knowledge that goes behind these like psychological and spiritual concepts that we talk about. And our thoughts actually have an effect on our body. So when we think negatively, that has a negative effect on our body. It increases stress. The brain produces certain hormones and chemicals that release out into our body that can have negative effect on our organs and cause us to make choices or live a lifestyle that may be sedentary, and then our health just starts to decline from there. So thinking positive actually has the opposite effect. It good chemicals are released. You feel like working out, feel like running, feel like being out in society and moving around, and in turn that creates a healthy lifestyle. So this is the scientific reason why it's important to be positive even through the negativity. I'm not saying don't mourn or go through the stages of grief or any of that. I'm just saying that give it its due time and its space, but in turn, be ready to get out of it as well. Don't dwell in it or on it. Give it its time, go through it, and then grow through it. So what are some tools that you can use to aid in this battle? I know I continually talk about the warfare that you're fighting against yourself, and in the warfare you need tools, you need weapons, you need equipment. So what are some of the tools and the weapons and the equipment that you can use in this battle? You can breathe, literally. When you are scared, when you are tense, when you are nervous, you kind of take short breaths. You don't take deep breaths. That's why some techniques that I've been reading about here lately, some authors tell of these techniques where you basically just sit and take 10 deep breaths. Just 10 deep breaths like that. And in doing that, that helps you to gather excuse me. That helps you to gather yourself and ground yourself and get yourself back together so that you can reduce stress, clear your mind, and get back into the fight. In the military, we also talk about something called tactical breathing. When you get in the heat of battle or in excitement or whatever, like oftentimes, I'm not saying you forget to breathe, but your breathing gets shallower. You need to take deep breaths and focus on breathing so that, and it's something that we don't think about doing normally or under stressful situations. It's just the fact that we need to intentionally focus on breathing deeper as opposed to breathing shallower, because breathing shallower again is a part of that fight or flight reflex, and is not serving us. It's actually working against us. Number two, what can you do? You can step away and recharge. You can look at the bigger picture. This is only a moment in time. It's only a incident. It may seem like it's the end of your life. You may be breaking up with somebody. You may get fired from a job. You may, I don't know, get kicked out of college. Whatever the situation is, it's just for right now. Step away, find some way to recharge, and just look at the bigger picture. This is not the end of the world. This is not the end all be all. There is a tomorrow, hopefully. Because tomorrow's not promised to anybody. But this is just a moment in time. Don't dwell on it. Don't get lost in it. It's just for right now. Number three, know that you are not what others say that you are. So if you grow up in a household or in a neighborhood where people are constantly putting you down, telling you you're this, you're that, or picking on you, bullying you, you're not what they say you are. You were put on this earth for a reason. If you do any type of research into the science behind how a human being is created, Just the mere fact that you won a competition from the onset against millions and millions of other potential human beings, right there set you apart. And then you made it through a 9 month process and was born into this world. And you really don't understand how scary or risky pregnancy is until you have children or you go through that. But I mean, it's pregnancy is a promise, isn't a promise. Anything can happen during pregnancy. But just for the simple fact that you won, the opportunity to be here on earth, set you aside from those that didn't. And in that, you have something special to give to this world. You are special. You do matter. Um, so you have talents, you have gifts, and you have things that this world needs. They say the richest place on earth is the graveyard because there's tons of people that were buried with their ideas and their dreams and things that could have helped the world at large, but they were scared to live. They were scared to go chase their dreams, and they just abided by the status quo. So don't be afraid to chase your dreams, and don't let other people tell you who or what you are. You determine that. And your perspective drives your reality. So if people tell you you're fat and you perceive yourself as fat, then you're going to do those things to stay in line with that train of thought. If you want to be healthier or slimmer, then believe that you're getting slimmer and slimmer each day and institute those habits into your life on a daily basis. And then eventually that will come into existence. And it's all about perspective again. Number 4, don't waste your energy thinking about the past. Be present. Be present in this moment. This is a huge one. The past no longer exists and the future is yet to come. So the only moment that we have in time is the present. The only thing that we can affect right now is the present. And by making choices and decisions and taking actions in the present, we can affect what happens in the future. But we can't move ahead. Everything happens in sequence. You went through the past, you're out of the past, you're into the present, and then the present dictates your future. So you may have made mistakes in the past, you may have done things in the past that didn't serve you, you may have gone through hurt, some type of trauma, but your only job or responsibility is not to place blame, but to accept responsibility. So yes, things may have happened to you in the past that may have not been your fault, but it's your responsibility to fix it, to not deal with it, to push through it, and to get over it. It's our responsibility to do that. And holding in anger or resentment towards the person that did it serves nobody. It doesn't even serve yourself. It only hurts yourself because the person that did the thing to you is walking around not even knowing that you're mad at them. So harboring all the anger does nothing but hurt you. Again, scientifically, that anger and resentment produces negative effects in your body. So why hold on to those emotions and those traumas? Do what you need to do to deal with them. Go see a therapist, work out, I don't know, go see a psychiatrist, go see a pastor, go see, just seek help. It's not weak of you to seek help. And that leads into our next point, which is have a team. Have some people that you can confide in. Have some people that think along the same lines that you're thinking. Have some people that want to be successful in life, because they'll 9 times out of 10, they'll face the same hurdles that you're facing. Or maybe they've gone through some trauma and they can teach you how to get over that trauma. You need to surround yourself with like-minded individuals. And in the pursuit of success, you guys will be able to help each other or piggyback off of each other. And that will shorten the distance between who you are now and who you want to be. That's been a very big help in my pursuit for success because I've been surrounding myself with some very awesome individuals and they have actually taught me a lot. One of which have actually helped me to create ALB Chase, which is my LLC. Big shout out to him. And he's doing big things. So I'm definitely trying to play catch up. All right, number 6. Remember your why. Remember the cookie jar. So the why is, why are you doing this? Your why has to be bigger than you. It has to be bigger than life. My why is my daughters. I don't want my daughters to go through life experiencing some of the things that I've had to experience or make some of the choices that I've had to make. Now, I'm not saying I regret any of the choices that I've had to make or the experiences that I've been through, because ultimately they made me who I am today. But there's definitely an easier way to live life. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of people heard me say that statement. They can definitely feel me. My life hasn't been ridiculously hard, but it has not been easy as well. You know, I was not born with a silver spoon, with a trust fund or anything like that. I had to grind for everything I had. You know, there are times where I have been paycheck to paycheck, $0 in the bank, you know, just doing what I got to do to survive. And I know there's people that are living even harder lives than that, and they want better for their kids. You know, and the only way that we're going to be able to create better for our kids is to, excuse me one minute, is to grind. We have to go out and get it, um because they're learning too, and they're growing. And that's the importance of us grinding, going out and get it, because we have to learn and form a plan and figure out a way to do it so that we can perfect it and then pass it on to our kids. So then the gap between who they want to be in the past and who they are now is shortened, and we can help them achieve success faster. Also, the second part to it, remember the cookie jar. That goes back to David Goggins. You know, the cookie jar you create in your mind of all the successes that you've had and all the things that you've done to conquer challenges. And when you face hardships, you just reach into that cookie jar, pull it out, and you just remind yourself of who you are. You know, that helps tremendously when you're going through hardships. You know, when you're in the mud, when it's raining on you, when stuff is hard, you could just go into that cookie jar and say, hey, this is not who I am. This situation does not make me. You know, this, just like somebody might tell you, oh man, this situation is going to be hard, or, you know, a lot of people don't make it and stuff like that. That doesn't mean you won't make it. You know, if something is hard, do it hard. You know, compare it to something you've already done in your life. You know, if you've, like, I've been through Marine Corps boot camp training. I'm not saying that it's the hardest training in the world, or that it's the hardest training, you know, that anybody will ever go through. But it was something that I did in my life that I could put in my cookie jar and I can compare situations to. Like, hey, they say this is hard, but at the end of the day, you know, I've been through Marine Corps boot camp training. So what is it compared to that? You know, and I've been through schools in the Marine Corps that were tough. You know, it's all about perspective again. And it's not being cocky or arrogant. It's just remembering who you are. Like, yeah, I've been here. I've done this already. Like, I'm not saying it's nothing. It's probably going to be difficult, but it's nothing that I can't get through. You know what I'm saying? I've been here before. It's just going to be painful, but I'm going to get through it. Number 7, accept that you're not perfect. No one is. No movie star is perfect. No, none of your role models are perfect. Nobody's perfect. Teachers, nobody's perfect. We're all imperfect, and we're all working towards the goal, hopefully. Some people are content with their lives, and that's perfectly fine too. But none of us are perfect, and anybody that says they are lying to themselves. Number 8, take new opportunities as they arise. What do you have to fear? You know, nothing. You don't have anything to fear but fear itself. You know, if you're scared you're gonna die, or it's something that might be risky, we're gonna die anyways. Like, it's a destination we're all going towards. And it's not something to get sad about, but it's something that helps relieve the pressure of the decision. Because, like, whether it's today or in 30 years from now, you know, it could happen. Like, a lot of people say, oh, why'd you join the military? Aren't you scared to die? You know, it's scary. You could walk out your house and get hit by a bus. You know, I mean, that's the truth. You know, just put things in perspective. Like, we're not promised tomorrow. Just because I don't go to the military, or if I chose not to go to the military, doesn't increase the likelihood that I'll live a long life. You know what I'm saying? So if that's one of the fears behind you not taking action, which is a common fear, you know, don't let that run your life. Don't let that run you. Because at the end of the day, are you going to let that determine if you miss out on this grand opportunity? Like, when I was flying at 14, 15, 16 years old, you know, yeah, I was scared I was going to die. It's definitely a part of aviation. But it's just like driving a car. You know, when you get in a car and you're surrounded by hundreds of different people doing their own thing, texting, talking on the phone, putting on makeup, eating their food, you're traveling 70, 80 miles an hour, but you're not worried about none of them hitting you and killing you. I mean, it's the same thing, but we rarely think about it because it's something we do every day and we put it into the back of our mind. Again, perspective drives reality. Number 9, this is very big too. Be grateful. Be grateful for what you got, no matter how little it is, because there's somebody that doesn't even have that. And gratitude is a great way to usher in success and other things into your life. You got to be grateful. You know, be grateful that you woke up this morning because somebody didn't. And lastly, develop a mantra. Healthy, wealthy, successful, and wise. That is my mantra. So whenever my monkey mind starts going crazy and wants to think all of these different things and stuff like that, I just remind myself healthy, wealthy, successful, or wise. And then I also use that mantra to determine if the actions that I'm taking at this moment in time are serving me. You know, if I'm on Instagram or YouTube just watching videos aimlessly, am I watching something that's going to keep me healthy, make me wealthy, increase my likelihood of success, or making me wiser? If the answer is no, then I'm going to hop off. Because, like I said early in the podcast, and like Jocko Willink said, that second mattered. So even though it seems in the grand scheme of things that it doesn't relate to anything, that second mattered. And the way that I wanted to end this podcast is when I go running, when I go working out and stuff like that, I don't listen to music. I listen to motivational speeches and I listen to poems. The reason I choose poems is because poems are great ways to get a theme or an idea across, but it's short, something that you can remember, almost like a mantra, like Invictus. Like whenever you get down or something is against you, you can say Invictus, you know, and that I'm the master of my fate, I'm the captain of my soul. That's how it ends, you know, after you said Invictus, which is short, but it reminds you at the end of the day, like, this is who I am. You know, my situation doesn't make me, I have control of this ship. So Invictus is something that I definitely repeat to myself a lot. There's also If, See It Through, Crystal Stare, like all of these poems are stuff that I memorize just as stuff that I could fall back on when life just gets a little bit harder. And this poem that I'm about to share with you right now is by Walter D. Wintle, and it's called The Man Who Thinks He Can. And it's really awesome to listen to this on YouTube. For those who aren't following me on Anchor, I'll have to. I mean, you could just type it in, "The Man Who Thinks He Can," by Walter D. Wintle, and the YouTube video will pop up, and it's awesome. It basically summarizes this whole podcast just in one brief poem. It was really touching to me, and it's something that, you know, I listen to all the time, especially when I'm running, when I'm training, and I'm out by myself. Nobody's lifting with me or working out with me. It's really just me against myself. You know, trying to beat my time, trying to beat my reps, trying to beat my weight, and that's gonna make me better. Because when I verse other people, you know, I'm gonna give it my best, and they're gonna give it their best, and then we'll see what happens. Maybe they won't, maybe I won't. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna put my best foot forward. So this is the poem, "The Man Who Thinks He Can," by Walter D. Wintle. Wintle. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you'd like to win but think you can't, it's almost a cinch that you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out in the world, we find success begin with the fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win the prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or the faster man, but sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks that he can.